I'm Cassandra Palmer, and here are my note cards. Obesity is an epidemic that is currently taking over the United States. Specifically affected is the youth of America. In the last 30 years, obesity rates among children have tripled. Diseases associated with obesity are diseases such as cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, among others. Another huge problem that America is facing is the presence of gangs. It has been reported that there are currently over 20,000 active street gangs in America. I have personally seen what can happen to a child who isn't given direction or specifically any extracurricular activities. My childhood best friend and I were very similar, and then once we hit high school, I was very involved with sports and activities, and she wasn't. And I think out of sheer boredom, she started to do drugs, and during high school, she passed away from a drug overdose. And I firmly believe that this could have been prevented had she been provided with direction or something else to do other than drugs. Going back to obesity, along with an increased risk of disease, it is also greatly costing the American people. In 2000, the total cost that taxpayers paid for obesity was $117 billion. Of that, $61 billion directly came from American taxpayers' pockets. Gangs are also on the rise all over the country, the East Coast, the West Coast, but an example for the West Coast is Oakland. Homicides were reported totally to be 127 last year, and the year before that it was 148. This is a 68.2% increase since 2004. In Richmond on the East Coast, they've had the most homicides since 1994. This is a quote from a Richmond girl who gave a testimony to a grand jury involving a gang murder. When asked about gangs, she said, "You hear the gunshots, you come outside, you see if you know them. If you don't, you go back to normal life." So this is testament to the fact that gangs have just become almost a normalcy in a lot of people's lives, and America is becoming desensitized to it because it's just such a normal occurrence for children to be in gangs. Self-esteem is defined as self-worth and confidence we attribute to ourselves. Low self-esteem, specifically in children, research has found has been attributed to increased rates of depression, increased rates of suicide, and increased rates of forming healthy relationships and bonds. All of us know the dangers of joining a gang, becoming obese, or having low self-esteem, and I'm sure that each one of us can think of at least one person in our lives who suffers in one of those three categories. I want to give our youth a way out, a way to get away from these three things, a choice to give themselves to get away from being obese or joining a gang or having low self-esteem. First, the best way to fight obesity in children and anyone is to exercise and have a healthy diet. Research has found that the most successful way to have this happen is a constructed routine and to put the child in an environment where it is a routine and someone is instructing them and it is very laid out. Research has also found to increase self-esteem that it is extremely healthy for children to have a positive group affiliation. This means a group that are all fighting for the same common goal and doing this through discipline and work ethic and determination and helping each other. It has also been found that gang membership will be less likely if the child has a positive role model in his or her life. This could be a coach or a parent or a teacher or even a peer. Imagine a world where a child has high self-esteem, the option not to join a gang, and is extremely less likely to be obese. Being part of an after-school sports team can do all these three things. Research has found that it is absolutely less likely for a child to join a gang if they're a part of an after-school team. Research has also found that self-esteem is likely to be increased if a member of a sports team, and research has also found that obesity is less likely if someone is a member of a sports team. An example of the success that comes from an after-school activity is our president, Barack Obama. He has specifically stated that he does not think he would be where he is in his life if he had not found basketball. He has said he believes that he may have been wrapped up in drugs and gang life, but basketball gave him a way out, and positive role models coming from his basketball coaches gave him a way out. An NBA star, two NBA stars that are examples of people from Oakland, which is the gang we've spoke about before, who say that basketball also gave them a way out, are Gary Payton and Drew Gooden. These are two people that think specifically they would have been in an Oakland gang had they not had basketball after school. A Major League Baseball player is Dontrell Willis, and he also agrees that he would have been in an Oakland gang had it not been for baseball. So I beg you to please keep after-school activities, specifically sports, still available to children. Although government spending and funding is at an all-time high and low, we need to keep funding after-school sports and give our children the option to have another activity other than joining a gang and have a place they can go to exercise and a coach that can help them be their role model, and it'll increase their self-esteem having positive group affiliation. So I urge each of you to join together and write to your congressman about the importance of after-school activities. I urge you to go to school board meetings and voice your opinion about how your tax dollars should be allocated and how important it is to fund after-school sports programs. I want all of us to be able to give to the next generation what we were all afforded, because I think that it is just so important to have after-school sports programs. Thank you.